Hello, world. It is us, your boys here to talk to you about Attack on Titan. Go ahead.
The final season. It is me, the usual. And if you're wondering who this wonderful woman below us is, that's Kaylee. Well, I don't know how your layouts are, but Kaylee is below and me and Rob are on top. So she could be up there, over there, wherever. Anyways, this is Kaylee. Kaylee is a nerd like us. Kaylee loves anime. Kaylee watches Attack on Titan. Kaylee also streams on Twitch. She is a god at Overwatch. So
No, I'm
please go
not.
watch Kaylee.
No,
We
I'm
will
not.
plug her Twitch and her Instagram. Instagram's important. She yelled at me last time for not plugging the Instagram
The god
because
of garbage is what I am.
she is not the god of garbage. She is the goddess of content. Anyways, the final season of Attack on Titan is here. If you're a weeb like us, you probably already watched it. If you're not and you just read manga, you already know what happens so far. I haven't read any of Attack on Titan. I'm new to Attack on Titan as of 2 years ago, maybe three at max. Rob and Kaylee both got me into it. It was just like a recommendation, and we wanted to talk a little bit about the final season. Obviously, there's only one episode out. They're not going to give us it all because we would have all binged it by now, probably day one. Um, Wanted to get everybody's thoughts on a couple things, so we'll probably just start with what we liked about it. Kaylee, since you're new, you can tell us what you liked about it, and
Don't start
we'll.
with me.
No, we're starting with you. That's
Oh, I
the
haven't
newbie pressure.
collected my thoughts.
You got to collect them now.
Rob can start.
So I thought it was cool. It was like it was hype, like it always is. You know what I'm saying? Good energy. It's kind of weird because it's like my first thought is actually what I didn't like,
Yeah.
which was the fucking CGI. I don't know. I'm just not big on CGI in anime, and so there's gonna be a lot of like as some like we read ahead. There's gonna be a lot of Titan shit happening. I hope it's all not CGI. um, but outside of that, even though it was there, like I don't know, it wasn't horrible because there's like definitely been like bad CGI and shit. It didn't look bad. It just like just felt weird for me personally. Um, but yeah, Attack on Titan does great things. The music and the animation
Yeah.
and the action and shit. It was crazy, and like I think what had me feeling like good about what we're gonna see is the fact that I've like read this all before, but I still had like a moment during the episode where I was like, oh shit, like out loud, like so
Yeah.
like it's one of those things where like it's definitely hits different emotions than on a page. So yeah, it's cool shit.
Kayla.
I mean, I had the same. I texted him about it as soon as I
Wow, nobody texted me. It's fine.
saw he. No, it's just the CG Titans made me super uncomfy.
So was there not a lot of CG in previous seasons?
No, no.
I think the only one they CG was like the Colossal
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Was that
Yeah.
it? Yeah, when you first
Like
saw him, right?
all the other Titans were normal animation for the most part. At least
Yeah.
if they were CG, they did a good job of making it not look CG. But like Reiner was super obvious.
It was
Really,
bad.
Bro,
Yeah,
all of them,
I was
yo,
like,
they
is
were
there something
the
crazy.
thing
new here?
is that it was smooth, like super smooth, like the movements and everything. But you could just see that
It
stark
looked out
difference
of
between
place.
CG and like regular animation. And
Yeah.
I've always had a hard time swallowing CG animation. I don't know why. It just really bothers me. That's why like
It
I had a
doesn't
hard time
work.
getting into like the Dragon Prince, which I know is supposed to be really good, but like
Bro. I literally
The
can't watch that
animation 3.
because the frames.
yeah.
Oh, this one's smooth, but it just still feels weird.
Yeah.
hmm
What did you really enjoy about the episode though, Kayla?
Um I'm gonna be honest, it's been a long time since I read the chapter.
Yeah.
Cause like Rob, I'm caught up in the manga. So um I think they did a bomb ass job of introducing like Gabby and Falco. I'm gonna be honest,
Mhm.
I forgot about the other two kids.
No,
Me
that's fine. I
too.
don't remember any names either.
I like saw them and I was like, oh, that's right, they were a thing. Um, and I mean, I I hate Zeke, so I was I'm not happy about
And
seeing
I feel
that.
like there's like so much you guys want to say because you've read ahead
There's
again.
that's the
And
problem. Like,
Bro,
yeah.
okay, well,
there was like
so like,
so little in this episode
And
to
that's where I
really
figured
give you
this would go.
anything.
Right.
So like for me, it's hard to really say much without like
ruining anything.
spoiling things.
Yeah, go ahead, Rob. Say your
So-
thought, and I'll
well,
say what
what I was gonna say was what I think is really what has me excited about like the season is that there was a line in the episode that they added that wasn't in the manga. And like I was like watching it, and I was like, I don't remember that. And I like went back to find the chapter and it wasn't there. And so I feel like they probably like talked to what's his I don't know. But they probably talked to him about like where he's gonna take it to close it out since it's not finished yet. Because like the line they added was kind of like a foreshadow thing. And I was like, did I miss that the first time?
What
And
was
so like
the
I went and found
What was the line? Do you remember?
something Falco said when he like was coming through or whatever. Um
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
yeah, I was like, I don't remember that. And I went back to it and I was like, yeah, that's not here. And so it's kind of one of those things, especially with the chapter that just came out a few days ago. I was like, yeah, this is definitely this right here. So it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like they're probably going to add maybe extra details here and there to like kind of foreshadow and play with different things that they might not have with the manga. So I'm pretty excited about that aspect of it because, you know, like I said, when you read ahead, you're kind of just like looking to see it in motion, but I feel like they're gonna do different things with it, which is
When was the manga, or when is it scheduled to end? Is it sometime this year, next year?
It's gonna be like probably they're real close. I would
really
say
close.
next year.
Yeah, I was gonna say on the internet, I saw 3 or 4 chapters.
So we're probably not going to get if they are doing this in 2 halves, which is the alleged thing, because the first half is 16 episodes, and then there's a second half. That second half's not going to come out right away, right?
No,
Probably not.
probably like at least a year apart or something.
Okay, that's what I figured.
The chapters come out once a month.
Oh
and
wow,
sometimes,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, sometimes they skip it, like if there's some kind of holiday
or something.
Yeah, because there was a couple skips in this year.
Gotcha.
Next year.
Going into this episode for me and the season opener or series finale opener, if Rob wouldn't have told me, I think a year ago or something, when I finished the previous season, that there was a time skip, I think I would have been even more confused to why these characters, like the kids, were there. I had no idea who they were, so I was just thinking in a mindset like, okay, well, we are years out of what happened in the previous season. The war happened, obviously they won that war, yada yada yada. I guess I just don't know what to expect. I'm not too high and I'm not too low. I'm just excited for Attack on Titan to be back. CG was weird to me. I think that's all 3 of our hated thing. It just looks out of place. Like it's not awful, it's not great, it just doesn't look like it needs to be there. The action in the short time was cool. The Titans looked awesome, like they're fighting. What else did I like? The gross Titan showed up and I just hated every second of it.
They transport out the sky.
Yeah, they just came out the sky and then they're smiling.
What did you think about Zeke screaming and turning a bunch of people into Titans?
So you texted me, you were like, I wish I could tell you. I thought that was cool, and I don't understand it.
Just wait.
And I know, like, I'm sure you guys want to, like, there's so much you could tell me, but again, I appreciate you not telling me. Like, there's so much to it. I feel like if I just read the manga and take the time, like, obviously I'll get more detail. I'll be ahead of where they are. Who was the Titan? The other one that was with Zeke. Which one is he?
Jaw Titan.
What's his name?
The Jaw Titan.
No. The other one. Colossal. Was it Colossal?
No, Armored Titan.
Armored Titan. I forgot after watching season 3 because it was a year and a half ago or a year. Like I thought he was dead, and Rob had to remind me that he got pulled away last second and survived.
The only one that died was Bertolt.
Yeah, and that's what I remember. I completely forgot about Reiner. So I was like more surprised to see him there, but that was my own. Yeah. Right. So that was cool to like his whole like running on the wall thing and getting the Titan cannons and stuff and like throwing them. That was cool to me. I don't know. I feel like we all just dislike the CG. I don't know if there's more you guys want to elaborate on in the 27 minutes of an episode that you disliked.
I mean, like I said, there was a lot yet so little. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
they don't give you much. So people that don't know like the future context are kind of just smacked in the face with these random kids who
that's exactly how I feel.
the only people they're gonna recognize are Reiner and Zeke.
But the
And that's
kids
really
play
it.
an important role.
Yeah.
I'm assuming like there's
Yeah.
a good backstory to them, or is it kind of like you get it and it's done?
No, they're
No, they're pretty important.
continuous.
They're pretty important.
Yeah.
Do like the characters we're familiar with, are they going to be next episode, or are they going to be sooner or like later, do you guys think?
Man, I don't
Just
They're
we'll
it's
put in
one or two
the
episodes,
description
I feel like it's gonna
spoiler.
take a couple episodes for
It
familiar
should take,
characters to pop
but
up.
a lot of times they like the way they did season 3. They really like sped through a lot of stuff like that was in the manga. So I
Yeah,
could see them coming up in like the end of the next episode, but I feel like it'll be
Yeah.
in 2 or 3 probably.
is there like some big reveal to why they show, or like when they show up, or is there like something that's okay?
You won't
I
it's
think
not
I have an
sneak up
idea,
on
but
you.
I'm not. I
It's
mean,
gonna be hype, yeah.
Oh
That's
yeah.
great.
It's
this
gonna
is a
be
spoiler for
lit.
like me if I say it now because I don't know, but everybody else that's gonna watch this probably knows because they read. Um, what did you think they like in regards to setting the table for this final season? Do you think they're on the right track? Do you think there should have been more or less? Do you think these episodes need to be longer?
I think it was a good episode to pull people back in because you're seeing all this stuff that you're not familiar with, save for a couple characters who you're like predisposition to hate. So kind of seeing the other side of things in a sense. I mean, like I think it's an interesting episode to start with. So I mean, if it's not your cup of tea, then you don't really care for the series as a whole, I think.
Yeah. What about you first?
Yeah, I was gonna say I kind of agree with that just because like a lot of times it's hard to invest in people and shit you don't know. And so to start you off with these characters that you haven't seen before, and then again like the characters you like are supposed to dislike, and then like for me, I've not seen any negative talk about this episode outside of people not liking the new OP or whatever.
The what? I didn't
and
hear
the,
you.
and the CGI, the opening and the new and the CGI.
I like
Outside
it.
of that, everyone's like, "Oh my god, like this is the greatest shit in the world," and it's because of what they did with all the action and the stuff they chose to show us. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I think they played it smart. And in terms of where they're going, like I said, my only and I've talked to Kaylee about this a bunch. Is like my only fear is that I don't want them to rush it. I don't want them to like leave things out. You know what I mean? Like I want to make sure that we get like everything that we need. But again, like I said, just like that, even that little piece with that little like line they added, it has me really curious as to what other stuff they'll like
Add on that's outside of the
insert
manga.
to kind of paint the picture for you a little better. Because I think stuff like that is like adds levels to shit, you know.
Yeah.
Well, we had that fear because last season, like the beginning of it, they left out so much information that was like in the manga. I mean, it still got the point across, I guess, but like
It's the little details.
yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of times those are what's important, at least with the way like Isayama writes. And like my concern is that like I know the first half is like supposed to be 16 episodes, so I'm gonna assume like what the second half's probably gonna be the same.
Yeah.
Like I was telling Rob, like for me, like world building is the most important thing to a series, and that's what's gonna like keep me interested. And I mean, like 3 seasons they spent kind of like building the basics, but in this time skip, like there's so much like information overload, but there's also a lot of chapters that are just action. But there's a lot of chapters that are all information.
Exposition, like yeah,
It's
exactly.
like
It's like
a
a
good-
weird
important
mix.
information.
We had to reread these chapters like 3 or 4 times to really like understand. Like
What was
Rob and I were
happening.
sending each other videos of people like breaking down these chapters because like we were trying to understand fully like what all this information is, besides like having our own conversations about it.
Yeah.
But like my worry is that that's all gonna be left out because for some reason Isayama decided to throw in all this political
Extra.
and theoretical and whatever information into this time skip, and I'm like, dude, you could have like at least spread this out a
Yeah, low
little
key.
bit. So my worry is that with the like so many episodes that they're not going to get all the information across that I think they should, and people might get confused because like just reading the chapters were confusing.
Yeah, they're like not short chapters. Like they're like
Ooh, they're
big
like 40
chapters.
50
Yeah,
pages.
40, 50
Oh
pages.
wow.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like
So
they're
it's the
like
real
big
deal.
chapters.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess that's the thing. Like, especially with the way they started off, just the way like I feel like the reputation it has now. I feel like there's a chance that it might just be like doubling down on the action. And I think the information is like just as, if not more,
Important, if not
interesting
more.
and important. Because yeah, there's just so many pieces at work at like when it comes to like the history of the world and the politics at play and all these
And
different dynamics and motivations. There's so much there. So it's like you want to get all that, but then you also like have that short stretch of time. And then clearly
yeah,
they're running up the budget when it comes to animation. They want to CGI fucking Titans and shit. Like, so it's like, what are you focusing
the
on? You know
final
what I mean?
season.
And not
Yeah,
only
like, you know what I
that,
mean?
but they introduce like a lot of key characters. Like there's a lot of people in this whole time skip. There are so many like key players that are
And you
taking place.
just hope they do justice for everybody's backstory and stuff.
I mean, yes, and like Rob was saying that there's just like so much going on that like wasn't really present in the last 3 seasons. So like for
It's
them
like
to
a
be able to
different
fit in all
show,
these
low-key.
personalities on top of all this information, on top of all this action, like
And so kind of what, and you guys kind of took it there already. I was going to ask you guys, like, did you feel in the first 3 seasons compared to the manga that the anime gave enough information for the viewer to follow? Or was there a lot of, maybe not a lot, but were there important things that were left out from the show that should have been in there or that you felt needed to be in there? And I'm not asking you to go season by season, but like, was there anything that ever stood out in the first 3 seasons that was missed in the anime, in your opinion? Or that
For
just
me,
didn't have the time to be fit in?
I think the 3rd season is where it started to get a little like questionable in terms of information not being present.
Okay.
But I don't think it was like overly detrimental to the story.
Okay.
yeah,
It's just kind of disappointing.
yeah, I was gonna say because I didn't like go back and like reread from the beginning. Like I finished season 2, I was like, this shit's good. I need more, and so I like read from there. And it wasn't more so, like it wasn't so much that like, oh, I wish they would have kept certain things, but I remember even talking to Kaylee about it. I was like, man, this next season has to be huge because they talk about so much stuff in this
Right.
section, and then like within 3 episodes they were already in the cavern and stuff. And you're like, oh,
What?
okay, I guess we're
Yeah.
we're just there, you know. And so it's one of those things where it's like I feel like maybe for anime watchers only, they'll be fine no matter what. But
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like maybe for people like who have read, they we will be like missing pieces. We'll be like, oh, you guys don't even know for real. Because
And the more you guys talk about it, the more I'm like, I need to read it because I feel like there's just so much and season 3 did it for me where you started getting the backstory of like how the world came to with Titans and then like who did it, why they do it, why are
Just
they being
wait.
used. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
there's
And
way
I was gonna
more.
ask, I was like, is this gonna be the season where they explain more of like
Hopefully.
okay.
That's what I'm saying. There's like so much like
That could be
theoretical,
missed.
political,
Yeah.
historical, and even I would say like religious in a sense. There's so much shit going on. Am I allowed to swear?
You're allowed
Shit.
to swear as much as you want.
Right.
We swear
There's
all the
so much
time,
shit
especially
going on
me.
that I'm just like
This isn't a PG thing.
somebody with, you know, like a history background. I need all the information. So I'm gonna be super salty if they leave out a good chunk of shit.
Yeah, and that's where it was like for me because it was teased towards the end of either the second or a lot in the third, maybe even when they started bringing up like the history of the royal family and then the bloodline of the Titan and how it's been passed down over and over. And it made me like the way I viewed the show was completely different at that point.
Oh
Because
yeah.
before that, it was like just, all right, there's these ugly things that have taken over the world. We have a wall to defend it, and like we want to make sure they don't get in. And we have our military that attacks them.
I mean, the first
And
two
that was it.
was Aaron screaming about his mom,
Wow, that's a different story.
and then people getting murdered.
Aaron is the Luke Skywalker of Attack on Titan. Anyways,
Just wait.
it gets worse.
I'm not. I can't say anything.
But
Poster says it all. That's it. That's all I can say.
yeah, again, for me at least, and again, I haven't read the manga. I'm already invested in wanting more of the historical and the what led to this whole show, book, whatever, manga. If they don't give me like a clear cut, like this is what happened, this is why it got here, this is why it's still like this, and this is why we're trying to change it, I'd be disappointed. If it just turns into like, okay, well, here's a bunch of action of us fighting titans, but you get a little story of like why everything is the way it is, and the focus of the final season is the action and the flashing lights, I'll be disappointed personally. And then at that point, I'm going to read the manga. So, and I think I'd never read manga. I never have. It's not that I dislike it. I just never have found time to. I think this is going to be the one where I start it. Because I feel like every time I see Rob like tweet about it, or when he was reading it a few years ago, even it was just like so crazy. It's like, I can't even explain it. You just have to read it. Like
him and I instantly text each other to like
when you're done reading it,
go crazy about the chapters.
Yeah, I
And I
need
will
to get
say,
on that level.
You're probably gonna enjoy the manga because like Rob and I also read My Hero Academia, and him and I have always complained that like the chapters hit this lull where you're reading all this intense stuff and it's super interesting and you're finding out all this information, then all of a sudden it's like them playing at a sports festival or something fucking
My Hero
boring.
has the worst pacing I've ever experienced reading a manga.
And so I can tell you without a doubt that there aren't really any lulling moments in the Attack on Titan manga, because like even the more docile chapters are like packed with information, like shit that you want to know.
They never give you all of it, so you like leave the information chapters like, I need more.
Like what? And then the next chapter is all
what about this?
Like, I have questions though.
You gave me all this information. You gave me questions and no answers. Like
and that's where I feel like with the anime, because the manga is obviously longer than any amount of anime you could ever draw up or whatever. Most animes have a filler, and I can't say Attack on Titan doesn't have a filler, and if it does, it's important filler. You know what I mean? Like,
never had a filler. I
right.
don't ever had fillers.
And I think that's due to like every chapter, every episode is it's very important to get the point across in that 27 minutes for that anime episode, because there's so much to give.
There's some brief domesticity like in one of the chapters, but it's more of like a segue to, I think.
And you're talking about the most recent chapters, or are you talking about previously?
Previously.
Okay.
Like right before the time skip, they kind of like segue it, but it's still important because like
you know what's about to happen.
It's not even that they're like giving away information, but I think the imagery is what is like keeping you invested, because you're supposed to notice the way Aaron's kind of changing, and like, you know, he's not loud and brash and exciting anymore, and he looks like he fucking hates his life, which, you know, I can relate to. So yeah, I think that's probably the most filler you can get in terms of Attack on Titan.
Right.
But yeah, for the most part, I don't think there really is any, which is nice.
Yeah, it's not, because usually if you get a show that has filler and, you know, there's hopes of happiness in that show. I feel like Attack on Titan is not meant to be viewed or watched for you to be happy about.
Hisayama just murders everyone to make you sad.
Yeah, and I feel like every character's backstory is so sad, and there's no need for happiness in this. Fuck, I
They've
forgot what it.
determined that more people have been killed in Attack on Titan than like some wars.
Oh yeah, that they're just
I mean,
nonstop. Everything is
I can
dead.
believe it, especially with what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm gonna try to get you guys to say this with it, and if you have to spoil anything, obviously, I don't care. I'm gonna watch it regardless. I'll read it. It's not like the end of the world for me. I'm gonna put spoilers in the title and description, and everything. What is something like, maybe not something, but what do you need from this season that can't be missed out on? Like, what are important? Like, is there a moment that you feel needs to be talked about heavy? I guess we're going into this like, this video is for everybody that's already read the manga. So here's your spoiler notice now. I haven't read the manga, but I'm okay with it. Like, what do you need to see? What do you need to for them to dig deep on in this final season for you to be fulfilled with it?
There's this is gonna spoil it in a
You
sense.
can, and that's fine. Just let it happen because people have read it
There's
already.
a section where because like they already touched on Mir, right? Like that's already passed. Like you said, they were touching about the like origins of the Titans and
Oh yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and how it came from Ymir and whatever else.
Yeah.
And
That was last season, I think.
yeah,
Either
Yeah,
last
yeah,
or two.
they're
Yeah.
in the basement.
yeah, and I think they like go into this whole thing about like like this philosophy and this theoretical uh concept of I like fuck, I can't even rack my brain to even remember because like Rob and I watched so many videos picking apart like all of this stuff and like we had so many deep discussions about it, but like meeting Amir, like there's like this space where I can't even fucking remember it. That's how in depth it is. Like I feel like they cannot skip out on that because like I don't even think it was like properly explained written in words. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say a lot of the videos, like people use like outside information to
Yeah.
connect it. Like they never even like touched on it in the manga for real, aside from like when they had their little moment inside the thingy where things were happening and shit.
I just
But
hope they don't skip out on that. That's the thing. Like this isn't gonna really make sense to anybody because I can't get my thoughts straight on it because it's been like over a year since I read that chapter. But just like I said, I'm a history buff. I have a degree in it. So if they leave out a lot of the important like political
Historical and
dilemmas,
political stuff. Yeah.
well, because I mean, in the first 2 seasons, like it's all just hack and slash.
Right. Right. It
Fuck
was the
like
third season that pulled me
third
into like
season,
wanting to know about the prior to all
yeah,
this.
corruption and politics start becoming a
Right.
play, and then you get to like this time skip where you find out there's a whole other place and that they were just like isolated in the walls and that there's life outside there besides Titans. And I think like all the important political and historical information regarding that is like something that really needs to be explained thoroughly because
Okay.
there's so much to unpack and like it's I mean again like these chapters are like 40 or 50 pages long and some of them is all dialogue, like all text. So I mean obviously speaking is faster than reading or writing, so like
Right.
it might translate, but like I don't know how they're gonna feel like spending an entire episode just talking. You know what I mean? So that's my concern is they're gonna be like, oh well, no, cut half this
They're gonna
information.
do a
It's
quick
not
like
really
5-minute thing of it and be done with it.
yeah, because
Yeah.
again, like they kind of did that with all the whole time skip thing where like Levi's talking to Aaron and like giving him all this information. Well, it wasn't even the time skip, it was the beginning of the third season, right? Like when Aaron was testing um crystallizing and shit and didn't
Yeah.
like Levi sit there and talk to him and like they had this whole conversation that I don't think was really included in the episode.
It
So
wasn't explained because I know what you're talking
yeah,
about, but it was very like shallow of a conversation and then they were done with
yeah,
it.
like they kind of do things in those episodes versus like in the manga they kind of really like discussed exactly what was
Right.
happening and why and
Right.
all that.
So
Um, so that's your
yeah,
can't miss on that.
I just hope they do a good job of explaining it.
What about you, Fergs?
I think for me, like I said, I'm already confident the action and shit will be fine. It's kind of the same in line with Kaylee a little bit, but like I just think I just need them to make it digestible. Like I feel like a lot of the stuff we got from like video analysis, like you said, came from people using outside information. Even when they started elaborating more in chapter, it was still like really complex and stuff. Like I need them to be able to deliver the information in a way that like I can
It
just
hits.
get. Where I'm just
Yeah.
like, there it is. Because
Yeah,
like even
it
some of this
like
shit now, like knowing everything I know, I still don't entirely get it. Like I'm just like,
Right.
so wait, this is happening, but if this is happening, how is this happening? Because then this and this. Oh, so you're meaning this? Is it just him or is it everybody? Because if it's just everybody, then that thing that they added makes sense because of this. And it's like, yo, like I need you to like just like be like, here's what's happening. This is what's happening. Like,
yeah,
because like it's a lot of complex shit, like all over the place. You know what I mean? It's cool. It gets you wanting more. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
finish every chapter like, cool. You didn't answer the question I wanted yet. Give me another chapter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
mhm,
Like, but I feel like by the time we get to the end of this first half or the end of the whole thing, whatever it is, I just need to like have a good explanation of what's happening. Like exactly versus like me like having to fill in the spaces myself.
And so I guess because we've been more talking our I guess thoughts, future thoughts for this finale and whatnot. What are for just the anime viewer and not a manga reader? Maybe if you can pinpoint 3 or even 5 parts of this episode 1 that people need to take away as the uh important thing that wasn't really discussed yet that they should be paying attention about. I mean, obviously the kids are number one, and I'm going to list off some of the things that I discussed and things that Kaylee had told me. The screen for the Titan activation wasn't explained, but it will be explained. I
That was
believe,
simple.
correct. So that would be 2 for me. What are things I missed that what the commander thing about that one Titan that crawls and he was like, "You're gonna be the next to inherit this. Act like it." That character.
well, so these kids are Gabby, the girl.
Yeah.
Um, she makes it a point to essentially dominate herself, or will uh make herself appear as like the dominant and like number one choice to become
Rightful owner. Yeah.
uh armored titan. So like these
Yeah.
kids are training to become the next in line for like all these different titans. So I mean you've got the jaw titan, you've got the beast titan, you've got the armored titan,
Yo,
you've got the cart titan, you've got uh
can't wait for that one
technically you've got the
part.
female titan. Um so you know what I mean? Like all these kids are military trained to take over these roles because you know again like I don't know if people forgot but there's a whole like 13-year rule which they haven't proved anything. So you know like every 13 years they pass on
The Titan
the titan
ability.
to like these next kids. So I mean they're warrior children fighting in armies, and I just think it's important to remember though that they're kids. Like they're soldiers, but they're kids.
And I think that's where, at least for me, until like you really pounded that into my head, like you mentioned it, the first 2 seasons was hack and slash. The third season we started to get like that history, that background of why the world is like this. And in the fourth season, and maybe people don't know the time skip or where they started, it was like, okay, there's the war and these are the war machines. Like where we've already gone so far from the original 2 season stories, and now we're just in this war, and these are the kids that are going to inherit the war machine. And like I feel like there needed to be more of like a background to that. And I mean we got a good amount of it, of like the the however many year-long war that they've been going through and the handing down of the Titans, but it just seems so like you got it. And what Rob said, like you needed to hit. It didn't hit for me. Like it didn't. It wasn't like an moment.
Yeah.
Like you heard it, it happens, and you're just like, okay. And I think that's more like because I don't read the manga. Like I don't have that reoccurring. This is what's happening. This is why it keeps happening. Like, and so I think I need to read that.
Well, and then another thing to like think about as well is that they kept referring to some of these kids and some of the soldiers as LDNs.
Yeah.
Well, like you got to remember that there is also like this whole political turmoil between two different kinds of people.
Right.
Why are you laughing?
Because this one YouTuber I follow was like, I don't like the way they're throwing around the E word like that.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. When I heard that, I thought like, I'm like, is this man like making this a racial slur or something?
Well, if you think about it, like considering all the like political agenda of Isayama that people say, you know, like the Nazi and all this other stuff. I mean, you can relate Eldians to being suppressed people by the superior, you know, race. So, you know, like how the Aryan race was superior to the Jewish.
Let's not get too political here, Kaylee. We might get in trouble here.
It's a historical fact.
Right.
But I think that's kind of like the tone that it's set.
That they're going for. Yeah. They really emphasized it though. Like
they shit on these Eldians.
We're getting the word Eldian like every other scene at one point for a good 8 minutes. And I'm like,
man, hard end.
They're not individual people.
He was like, they really want you to know what they are. And I was like, oh, you're right.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to touch up on episode 1. I don't remember the brief trailer for episode 2. I don't know if either of you do.
They didn't really give one.
They didn't give anything?
No.
Okay, maybe I just cut it off and I didn't know. Okay. What else is there that we might have missed on episode 1?
That the fucking opening was fire. I think a lot of people apparently hated it.
I didn't dislike the song. From what I gathered, people didn't like the imagery. People were like, they don't want to spoil it. They're like, well, why is it just explosions? This is dumb. But like,
I've been very critical
have a problem with it.
of anime openings ever since One Piece and Hopes and Dreams. Nothing will hit ever compared to that.
Listen,
relax.
Nothing will ever beat Death Parade's opening.
Okay, fair. And so because of I wasn't like hyped about the opening, but I didn't hate it. Fire Force has been really wild with their openings that I love because I watched Fire Force. But I started that The Day I Became a God yesterday night, and that opening is absolute butt juice. So if you're complaining about Attack on Titan, I don't have Crunchyroll, Kaylee.
I will give you my Crunchyroll account. Please watch Jujutsu Kaisen.
I would rather watch that than this God of whatever or Day I Became a God because it's boring as fuck.
The ending to Jujutsu, like the opening is good on its own, but the ending is amazing.
All right, give me that in a month because I got to start Demon Slayer tonight.
Oh man, I binged it.
Yeah, I promised myself not to watch it until the dub came out and all the dub released. So
you know, I'm gonna tell you, I was super hyped and binged it and thought it was like great while I was consuming all of the episodes in the time I was awake. 18 hours.
18 hours.
But, yeah, I
built different. You did it straight?
Yes, because I hate myself that much.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
But now that I look back on it, it's not as good as I thought it was. Like it's still good, but it's not.
You are like the 10th person to tell me this.
It's just like you're in the moment, and it hypes you up, and you're like, "This is great." And then you think about it later on, and you're like, "Oh, it's okay."
So we've obviously transitioned away from talking about Attack on Titan. So we're going to close here with Demon Slayer because I'm watching that too, apparently. everybody that tells me they've watched Demon Slayer like in the moment, like you just said, is like the action is wild. You gotta watch it. Da, 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 da. It's
And
so
it's
good,
beautifully
which I
animated.
believe, and I don't
Also got it
disagree at
popular. One
all.
of its clips went viral, and everyone's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What is this?"
Yeah, and then they let it sit for like a week after they've watched it, and everybody's like, "It's not that good," and I'm like, "What?"
It's
Because people
stereotypical of a shonen
read it,
storyline.
and the ending was apparently.
The ending was bad.
That's what
A
Mikey
lot of
said.
people are upset.
Oh wait, and it's only a 1 season show, right?
No, it's
No, it's got a bunch. I think it's like 200 chapters or something. So it's probably
yeah,
gonna be
the
like a
manga's
full
finished.
season or something.
Somebody
Manga's
said
done.
that 1 season was going to be the only one.
The second
Okay.
season's out.
Okay. But yeah, so I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch Jujutsu Kaisen. Promise Neverland season 2 is coming.
Yeah.
Did you watch season 1 of that?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll be watching that together. What else? What else do I need to watch, Kaylee? What else?
Shit, I don't know. I listen. I haven't been
Cooking Wars. I heard Cooking Wars is lit.
Food Wars.
Food Wars, that one.
Food Wars is a hentai with food.
That's why I
And
heard it's lit.
let me tell you. Pretty sure
Fergs,
that
you never watched
show-
that?
Huh?
No, I watched like
No,
one episode.
I was asking Fergs if he's ever watched that.
I don't know. I haven't been. Fruits Basket's beautiful, but that's A Fruits Basket. Okay, listen, this is my first manga that I ever read, and then I watched the anime in 2001. And then I rewatched the anime like 10 years later and was like, this is the trashiest fucking I've ever watched. And I hated it.
Long live your idols.
And then I found out that they were redoing it, and I went to the panel, was it last year at ASIN?
Was it dog shit?
Where we met like
The panels, they were nice people. They were fun people.
It was a fun panel. Like, these people are hilarious, but they were like,
remember when we could go to
passionate.
conventions, guys? You remember?
Stop it. Listen, I miss it so much.
We all.
Rob and I have been
We need that
discussing,
feeling.
like, the possibilities of like going to conventions next year, because I have a room booked at the Hyatt, which like
For
is
ASIN?
hard to get. Yeah, for ASIN.
I would hold on to that regardless.
I'm not going to cancel it unless they cancel the convention. But like,
did you see they're trying to get C2E2 for December?
I'm not touching it. December, like
2021.
oh, that's acceptable.
No, not December this month.
Like, we were saying, because we attend oh god, what's the one in November?
The one in Wisconsin, the one ASIN, and then C2E2. What else?
What Daishoukan? Rob and I were saying that like hopefully Daishoukan will be a thing, because that's not until next November.
You know these nerds not going out to get a vaccine. You know what? Let me cut this out so we can talk after I hit unrecord. So
hold up. The nerds were the first ones buying masks. Are you kidding me?
Stop it. Anyways,
they were.
They're buying goofy masks, not right masks.
Listen, I keep putting masks into my cosplay, and then I don't have to do half the amount of fucking makeup that I normally do.
I'll never forget when we were at C2E2 and like COVID was just starting, and the first case was in Illinois, and it was that weekend. And me and Rob were like, oh, like we joked at every like aisle. We're like, maybe we should buy a mask.
We're like,
somebody coughed, and like, you think about it, like we were around thousands of people.
Not to mention
everybody
breathing on you.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, you were shoulder to shoulder with people at C2E2, so it was like right when COVID started. Like, can you imagine if that was like one more month, and then we're at C2E2? Like, we all got COVID after that.
Like, not even a month after it, because
it was like 2 weeks later.
Yeah, 2 weeks later, we went on to like 3 mitigation and lockdown.
Yeah,
and
we were in lockdown
for 2 months, and it was I didn't come back until August.
Oh,
that's crazy.
I miss C2E2.
And I mean, that should have been the time when I did most of my anime consumption, but I was in a deep depression while trying to handle graduate school.
That's fair. I think a lot of people were going through something at that time, so that's very fair.
The only thing that brought me happiness was playing Overwatch, even though I'm garbage at it.
I don't believe you. I'm garbage at Siege, so.
If you would have watched my gameplay from today, I was terrible.
We all had bad days. Anyways, we have veered far from the Attack on Titan episode 1 recap overview series finale thoughts. I don't know if anybody else has a closing comment to make on
Watching.
episode 1. Rob, hers was watch it. You got to say something.
Let's fucking get it. Type. Let's go.
Okay. Please ignore the gross Titans running around smiling. Please don't.
No.
We don't condone that shit. Um,
Consume that shit.
Stop it.
Become it.
Obviously, we still don't have a name for our anime cast here. Kaylee, if you have a recommendation, blurt it out right now.
I got no thoughts, empty head.
No thoughts, empty head. You are going to see a lot more of Kaylee. Kaylee is a forever member now, especially because we're talking Attack on Titan. There's going to have to be a show that we all start off the rip that nobody has any background on, that we do eventually. But for now, it's going to be Attack on Titan. It's going to be Promised Neverland Season 2 coming soon.
Jujutsu Kaisen, if you ever watch it.
I got to binge that once Kaylee gives me the account after I watch Demon Slayer. And yeah, stay tuned for episode 2, our recap when we get it's every Saturday morning, right?
I don't know. It was on Sunday, which was like a weird day for it to premiere.
Oh, they did drop it Sunday. You're right, because I watched it like at 3 p.m. on Sunday or something.
Although last
it
season
was Saturdays last
was
season.
it Saturday? Yeah, it was Saturday.
It's usually Saturday for everything.
I'm gonna be dead honest. I didn't watch the second half of the 3rd season because I didn't need to see Erwin's death animated.
Mm-hmm. You just missed the baseball game. Like, it was just all a baseball game.
Stop it! I hate Zeke so much.
That shit is. I need a separate conversation on him with you guys. But anyways, we will be back for episode 2 eventually. Hopefully next. What is it? Yeah, next week we'll discuss and give you more spoilers. It has been real. Kaylee, it's good seeing your face as always. It's been too long. Robert, I will see your face probably Thursday or Friday.
Wow, don't invite me.
Well, I'm just giving him his birthday gift, so.
Okay, you're right.
And we're gonna do it safely because COVID and social distancing. So everybody wish Robert a happy birthday. He's turning 28.
Friday,
big day. His sister or Lorenzo is making him laugh right now. Tell her I say hey girl, hey. And it's been fun. I love you guys, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.
Bye.